There we go. The session is being recorded and it will be available to everyone throughout the district on the district's website at district13oh5.org. A few housekeeping rules so that everything runs smoothly for everyone. As you probably noticed, I will be muting everyone. If you have a question, you can raise your hand through the chat, or if you're on the phone, just ask your question, but please mute your phone in the meantime. If you move your mouse to the lower part of your screen, you'll see a reaction button. Click on that and I'll see that you have something to say, and you can send that to me in your chat. You can either share the chat with everyone that's online, or you can chat with just me if you know how to do that. So if you're comfortable with that, you can do it either way. Keep your comments or chat related directly to this training only, please. If you called in, again, please mute your phone. And if you have a question, you can unmute your phone and just ask it, since we won't be able to see you otherwise. At the end of the training session, you'll have a Q&A period. If you send a question in the chat, we'll present it to the presenter at the end so that he can answer your questions for you. I'm trying to get a hold of everybody that's online. I think I've got everyone, but if you would please go into the chat, except those on the line, and give me your name and email, that would help to make sure that we have contact with everyone who was in the training session so we can get you your certificates afterwards. And I will put my, most of you know my email, it's in the newsletter. You can always access it very quickly. So after the training is complete, you'll at some point get a short survey to complete, questions relating to how did the presenter do and how did you like this type of training, as well as what can we do, of course, to improve it in the years to come. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us today. And I would like to turn it over to your trainer, Jason Gray, for engaging your members. Jason, it's all yours.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Are you able to see the screen that says engage your members? Is that on? You guys
Yes.
able to? Okay, very good. Then we'll get started here. 1 second, I had my intro. So I think Jackie hit most of it, so I'll just keep it short. The title of this class is...
Oh, shoot.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. Sorry, that was my fault.
Engaging your members. I'm Jason Gray that will be teaching the class today. Jackie already took care of the muting. She already addressed the questions, so I think we're ready to get started. So with the approach that I thought we'd take today was, we tried to keep it a little bit higher level instead of specific things. There are a few where, you know, specific things that you can do to engage your members. I thought it would be beneficial to look at understanding our members, what they need from their volunteer experience, and understanding how to use the community to engage our members and keep them engaged. So hold on, I gotta switch slides. Oop, there we go. Okay, so overview, we have a few icebreakers to kind of start us off with. Types of relationships, we're going to discuss that and what to focus on in relationships to make sure it's beneficial for everybody, our members, our club. Importance of adding meaning to what we're doing instead of just what we do, make sure there's a meaning to it. Volunteer satisfaction, understanding where our volunteers and our members get satisfaction and make sure that we kind of check those boxes to make sure that they are truly satisfied with the experience they're having, so they're more likely to be engaged. Also, an interesting thing I kind of found that I think might be beneficial is asset-based community development. And when we go through that section, I think anytime we say community, we can use the word club. So that's why I put that in there, that the actual concept is called asset-based community development. But like I said, I think anytime we say community, we can also say club, and you'll see that when we get into that a little bit. What steps can we take to keep members engaged? And then at the end, we'll kind of bring it all together. So hopefully it all meshes at the end and you don't think, well, what the heck were we talking about? So we'll try to keep it going that way. So icebreakers. I thought we would start with this. Unfortunately, The idea was we would do it in the room with everybody participating, but since we're unable to do that, actually I was able to get my sons to volunteer to help. So there'll be a video here in a minute that will kind of show you what we meant and what we were trying to do. Like I said, it would have been more fun if we did it in the classroom setting, but we're all adjusting. So the reason we did icebreakers, it's a fun way to start the meeting, gets everybody talking and moving. Even the shy ones, I think we've all been to meetings where the person's okay just sitting in the back. It gives them an opportunity to talk a little bit, maybe become more comfortable. We learn new things about each other. We might have things in common with members that you didn't know about. You know, I've been in a club for years and never knew what this one gentleman did, and then find out what he did. It gave us an opportunity to talk to him and get him more engaged in different things. It helps new members learn about other members and lets current members learn about the new members. So it's kind of back and forth. They can all learn about each other. The thing that we recommend here is keep it fun, light, and entertaining. Don't let it get too personal or serious. You just want it to be a fun way to get people started talking, understanding each other, and just learning new things about them. So the first icebreaker we had, I actually participated in this one. It was a lot of fun. We actually did it in Chicago when an Australian governor came in and kind of taught us this. But the concept is you bring one roll of toilet paper to the meeting, you pass the toilet paper around, you ask every member to take off what their normal amount of toilet paper is that they would use if they were going to go to the restroom. Once the roll's made it all the way around the room, you ask each member to share one thing about themselves for each square of toilet paper that they pull off the roll. Encourage them to share something that most people in the room don't know about them. And then for a fun twist, you could have them, especially if it's a group that's really knows each other well, you can have them make something up. Encourage someone in the room to make something up, and if they can get away with it without anybody picking up on it, then maybe they win a prize that day, or the 50-50 or something, however you want to do it with your club. But just a fun way to get it started. Like I said, you can even make it up. So let them try to figure out what the made up fact is. The next, if it works right, is a video from that my boys helped me with. I think it'll start here.
Okay, Ian and Brandon are going to help us demonstrate the toilet paper icebreaker. So go ahead and take as much more toilet paper as you normally would if you were going to go potty. Just however many sheets. Okay, pass it to Brandon. Brandon, you do the same thing. How many sheets you normally use? Okay. So now what you are going to do with your toilet paper, so Ian, how many do you have? 3. And Brandon, how many do you have? 4. 4, okay. So Ian, you're going to hold yours up, and for every square of toilet paper, you're going to tell us one thing about yourself that most of the people in the room won't know. So you take one and you'll say the first one, then the second one, and the third one. So here, I will start to make it easy. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, I'm a fan of Ohio State football. I graduated from Youngstown State with a bachelor's degree. I have a master's certificate from Chicago, from South Park in Chicago. I have 3 kids. My wife, myself, and my oldest son are all active members of the Franklinton Lions group. Go ahead, you do 3 things about yourself.
First one, I have 2 brothers. Second one, I love animals, especially dogs. And then the third one, I love playing lacrosse and soccer.
Okay, go ahead. You got 4, B.
Okay. I like playing soccer. My favorite animal is a bat. My favorite food is pasta.
So I think that kind of gets the point through there. You know, we're not the most photogenic group, but yeah, I think you get the idea. Have fun with it. Get them talking about themselves, sharing things. that they normally wouldn't, and get them to open up.
Okay, Ian,
Another one which you guys might have seen is with the beach ball trivia. You write a question on a beach ball and pass it around the room. When the ball is handed to someone, they must answer the question that is closest to how the right index finger, the right hand, however you want to do it. For fun, you could also do it kind of like musical chairs where you turn the music on, pass the ball around. When the music gets shut off, then they would answer, whoever's holding the ball would have to answer the question. So just another way to get people talking, moving, and engaged. Another one we have here, which we do have a demo of, is M&M game. You may have heard of this one. You pass out a small bag of M&Ms to each member. You go around the room and have the member tell you about themselves based off of what M&M they picked out first. Excuse me. For a fun twist, you can have best friends or spouses try to answer the question for each other. Just a fun one. I'd be interested to see how many my wife could answer for me. That could be fun. Or we might not be married after it, however it works. But for this one, like I said, you're gonna pick out the M&Ms. So you'll see if they pick out a red first, they have to tell you about their favorite summer vacation. Orange, what are your 3 favorite desserts? Yellow, what is your favorite movie and why? Green, what is your favorite hobby? Blue, what are 3 things that scare you? That one, I'd encourage you to keep it light and fun. Hopefully they don't get too dark into that and too personal, but if they do, that's okay too. Brown, if you could have any career except for the one that you have or have had, what would it be? These are just sample questions. You can change them to anything you want. You can make them as wacky as you want, as fun as you want. I know my kids and I, we love to play Would You Rather. You could throw that in there. If you get an orange, would you rather be the world's fastest bird or be able to swim the deepest ocean? And just have fun with them, kind of pick out what they want. So the next is
Jason, we kind of lost you.
the package of M&Ms. Grab a few M&Ms.
oh. Did you lose me?
I got you back.
Sorry about that. Usually my internet's really good. Are we good?
I think so.
Okay.
Just grab like a small handful or a few. Whoa, maybe not that.
Yeah.
Just pick out like 4 or 5 from there. Oh no. Okay, so this is how it's gonna go. So you're gonna grab a color, you're gonna hold it up, and I'm gonna ask you a question. So grab what color? Yellow. What is your favorite movie and why?
Up, because I really like watching it, especially with the animals.
Okay, very good. Now you pick one of B, any color. Red. Tell us about your favorite summer vacation spot.
In our backyard in the pool.
Okay. So go ahead, Ian, grab one more. Green. What is your favorite hobby?
Playing lacrosse.
Playing lacrosse. Okay, pick a different color that we haven't. Or you can do green. What's your favorite hobby?
Probably swimming in the pool or playing soccer outside.
Okay. So B, grab one more color. Brown. If you could have any career, what would it be?
Probably one that studies like animals and stuff.
A little louder, so there you
Probably one that studies animals.
go. Okay.
Okay, so you see, like we said, it's just a way to engage them, get them talking about themselves, about things. Another one the kids kind of came up with after we did the M&M, because they really enjoyed this, and I think they just liked they could eat the M&Ms. But another one we thought about was get the bag of different miniature candy bars and pass that around. That way they're pre-wrapped. You don't have the hands in it.
Lost you again, Jason. I think he's coming back on. You there, Jason?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry about
Keep
that.
going.
I never have problems with my internet. I don't know what's going on. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so for the next part, I thought we'd look at what kind of relationships and people have. There's three main. You can also look at much deeper, and some of them are broken up different ways, but I thought we'd do more of a big picture and just kind of understand what kind of relationships. These are specifically relationships in nature, but I do think they correlate to Lions clubs and the Lions Club and their members and how they can interact with each other and how we need to make sure that we're striving towards a certain type of relationship with our members so they feel more engaged. So you'll see there's, like I said, three types of relationships. Parasitism, communalism, and mutualism are the three that we're going to kind of discuss. So parasitism is where one organism gains while the other suffers. Examples of this would be fleas that attach to a dog, ticks, intestinal worms, etc. Clubs that display this type of relationship may show some of the following characteristics. Their decisions and actions may create a perception that they only take from the community and or their members. The community or members may have a negative effect from having a club in their community. So, I mean, clearly stated, that's definitely one that we want to stay away from. We don't want one where just the members or just the club benefit. We need to create a situation where they both benefit. So there are, because I know there's some people on the phones here, so we try to put some cartoons in because when you're talking about parasites, it's hard to keep it light and airy. But there is one cartoon that has, it's somebody looking out the window, or a, oh shoot, what is it? Lice looking out the windows with the in-laws coming. It says, "Oh great, it's some of your relatives, David. You know, it's ironic that even we lice have parasites." And then the other one has 3 ticks on the back of a dog that says, "Here comes Ron. Whatever you do, don't mention the dog and the tweezers." So just try to lighten it up there a little bit. So the second type would be communalism. It's a type of symbiotic relationship between two organisms in which one benefits without affecting the other in any way. Example of this would be a milkweed and the monarch butterfly. The monarch butterfly eats milkweed that contains a toxic chemical. The poison is harmful to most animals, and they avoid contact with the plant. Monarch butterflies extract and store the toxin throughout the lifespan, and then birds find the monarch butterfly distasteful, thus they avoid eating them. The milkweed is not affected in any way. The monarch butterfly gains protection from other prey because it eats the monarch butterfly. Another example would be birds that ride on the back of animals. They're not hurting the animal, but they are getting free transportation out of it. So one animal is gaining a benefit, the other one's not hurt. Clubs that display this type of relationship may show the following characteristics. They may focus on gaining more members so they can host more projects. The club will benefit by having increased members. However, the members may not gain from the process. In this type of relationship, the club is focused on numbers, not how it could benefit their members. We talk a lot about getting new members, but we have, in my opinion, we have to make sure that we balance it. What are we giving those members that we get to keep them engaged, to make them want to be part of it? Are we just getting members so we can do another project or do a bigger project instead of focusing on what are their needs? And the top one, or the last one here, which is one that, in my opinion, to focus on most, for both partners benefit. The club and the member both gain a lot of benefits out of the interaction. Example of mutual, I have a feeling it dropped.
You're back.
Okay. Examples of mutualism is a sea anemone and a clownfish. The sea anemone benefits because the clownfish attracts other fish, and the clownfish benefits because it gets protection from the sea anemone. So you see both gain benefit. Clubs that display these types of relationships may show the following characteristics. They focus on both the club growth and progress while focusing on membership satisfaction and engagement. Both sides benefit from the interaction. And that's where we said we must develop and focus on these types of relationships to grow Lions and to keep our members engaged. What makes it meaningful for our members? It's really important that we focus on that mutualism relationship, that we're providing a benefit to the members through their engagement, and the club is also getting benefit from it. So you talked about making it meaningful. I found this, I thought it was somewhat interesting about how people can take different perceptions and take the same task and take different meaning from it. It also kind of goes into the why versus the what, which I think most of us have discussed or been part of. Of course, there are different ways to find meaning in one's work. Said Michael Pratt, PhD, a professor of management and organization at Boston College. To illustrate this, he points to the old tale of three bricklayers hard at work. When asked what they're doing, the first bricklayer responds, "I'm putting one brick on top of the other." The second replies, "I'm making 6 pence an hour." And the third says, "I'm building a cathedral, a house of God." All of them have created meaning out of what they've done, but the last person could say that he's doing what he is doing is meaningful. Meaningful is about the why, not just about the what. I think I wanted to put this in here because I thought it was really interesting. It is from the American Psychological Association, an article in there, which is referenced here if you're interested in it. But I thought it was very interesting because that's one of the things we have to keep in mind when we're trying to engage people is what meaning are they getting out of it? You know, the one guy is, "I'm putting one brick on the top of the other." The other one is, he's getting money out of it. And then the third understands the why. "I'm building a cathedral." So I think that's really important that we continue to focus on that also. We have to try to understand what our members are getting out of it and what their perception of the task or the project is, so we can better understand how to make it meaningful for them. So, and then that leads right into volunteer satisfaction. There are 5 categories, how it was broken down. It's known as the volunteer satisfaction model. It's a practical framework to improve volunteer management practices. This was written by Jurgen Willems in 2013. He identifies 5 categories of volunteer satisfaction. We need to identify what activities satisfy our members and make them want to volunteer. And I added this part, I think we need to make sure that we're not deciding the satisfaction of the volunteer based on their age or their ability to do a certain task. I think we've all heard a lot of conversations where it's put them on that, they're a little bit older. We need to focus on what satisfies them. What are they going to get the most satisfaction out of while they do the process, not what we think they fit best. Some individuals may shy away from some of these activities, but the 5 are task satisfaction, which we'll go over, social satisfaction, recognition satisfaction, learning satisfaction, and aspiration satisfaction. So tasks, somebody who gets their tasks, they get satisfaction out of the task,
Uh-oh, we lost you again.
Heck on it.
You're back.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Task satisfaction, the satisfaction that results from performing day-to-day activities that are a part of the overall volunteer responsibilities. For example, one can be satisfied regarding his or her involvement in the organization because she recently organized a nice hike with some youngsters, or when a fundraising activity was properly done and returned sufficient means for the future activities. This person is, like it says, they get satisfaction from the task, from completing the task, from understanding or knowing what the return of the task is. The next one is social. Social satisfaction, the satisfaction that is gained by being active as a volunteer together with other people, often people with similar ideas, interests, and personal objectives. For example, volunteers can enjoy their involvement in the organization because it enables them to meet new people. It might enlarge their circle of friends, and it might lead to strong and valuable relationships. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. They gain their satisfaction from interacting from other people by being social, by being out in the community. I think we can all probably identify somebody that's like that. There is a cartoon here. It's two people on deserted islands about 100 yards from each other, and the one guy's throwing a bottle. The other guy opens the bottle and it says, "You have a friend request." I just thought that was humorous last night. So, volunteer satisfaction for recognition. Recognition satisfaction is reached when volunteers feel rewarded and recognized for their volunteer efforts, both by other volunteers from the organization and by people outside the organization. It also includes personal or self-recognition that results from feedback by others.
Lost you again for a second. Are you there? Jason.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
okay, am I back?
Yep.
Okay, we were talking about recognition, satisfaction. I'm not sure when it cut out, but it mostly is going to do. People that get satisfaction this way are the ones that like the awards, that need the people to say, "Hey, thank you for the job well done." You know, everybody likes to hear that to some extent. We may want to be cautious, though, that there are some people that don't like the recognition, and we need to identify them so we can still recognize them, but not to the highest level to where they're uncomfortable and don't care for it. There's a cartoon here. It's a gentleman that looks like he just got out of the bathtub, standing up on the stage, and it says, "Really, this award comes as a great surprise." But
Cut out again. Are you there?
yeah,
Okay. Keep going.
okay. Learning satisfaction is reached when people feel positive about the opportunity to develop new insights and skills through volunteering for the organization. By being active in a particular organization, volunteers can learn new things that might be useful outside the boundaries of their volunteer environment. For example, skills and insight might be acquired that are useful for future career opportunities, for emergency situations, and or for other contexts and situations in life. Someone who gains this or gets satisfaction from learning in their volunteer roles might be the ones that really get into maybe CPR training that your club does, diabetes testing, eye screenings, things that they can learn from their experience with Lions that they can take into their career or back into their community and use that. Then on the bottom, there's a cartoon of a teacher and a son or a student, and it says on the chalkboard behind him, it says 1 + 1 =. and the teacher says, yes, this will be useful to you later in life. And then aspiration. Aspiration satisfaction is reached when people look forward to the achievement of a certain event or project in the future. It is not the achievement that is driving this type of satisfaction, but looking forward to the achievement. Therefore, it is related to personal ambitions. For example, a group of volunteers might have set goals with respect to reaching a certain amount of new members, or an individual volunteer might set the goal to organize a successful event. Striving for such a goal might induce a longer and stronger commitment to the organization. That is the context in which the goal is strived for. So they're more excited about setting the goal and kind of how to get towards that achievement. Those are the, like I said, the 5 different ways that people get satisfaction.
We lost you again. Yep. Are you there?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're back. Sorry, guys. That's embarrassing.
That's okay.
I usually have a really good connection. I don't know what's going on today. But those are the 5 types of satisfaction. Those are the 5 types of satisfaction that we have to keep in mind, in my opinion, when we're looking at our members and looking at a new activity. Which of our members get satisfaction from which one of those categories? So how can we ask, Susie likes a certain, she's all about the end result. Then we need to have her focus on that and focus on that satisfaction level. Some just like we said, like the accolades that come from it. That's great. Take the extra few minutes and make sure they're appreciated. Unfortunately, I've been to several clubs, and I'm sure we all have, where they say, I do all the work and no one ever thanks me. That right there, that statement tells us that that's what drives that person. So we need to make sure that we take extra steps to keep them engaged by thanking them, by doing something to make sure they know they're appreciated. Drives them.
Are you there? Lost you. There he is. Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay. So the next kind of topic that I wanted to discuss was asset-based community development. With this, I truly think, and as you read through it, if you disagree, please let me know. But I think anywhere that we use the word community, we could replace it with the word club, as in Lions Club. This concept comes from improving communities, improving relationships within the community. But I absolutely think if you just put club wherever I say community, it works exactly the same for the Lions Club and what we're trying to do. But asset-based community development, also known as ABCD, is a community-led approach originally developed by John McKnight and John Kretzmann that is built on 4 foundational elements. It focuses on community assets and strengths rather than problems and needs. Strength-based rather than a deficit approach. It identifies and mobilizes individual and community assets, skills, and passions. It is community-driven, building communities/clubs from the inside, and it is relationship-driven. So we'll dive a little bit more into each one of these. The first foundational element is it focuses on community assets and strengths rather than problems and needs. I thought this first step was really important. It focuses on community assets and strengths. How many times have we been in a meeting with a Lions Club or your Lions Club and say, this is our problem. We have this problem and this problem, and we can't grow members because of this, or this. This approach, you look at what are your assets, what are your strengths, so you can build on those to build a stronger club so then you can grow from there. You're going to focus on the strengths and what you have to build instead of what don't we have, what are our problems, what are our needs. I think it's just a change of idea, but I do feel that it's really important. Many traditional approaches to working in communities begin with a needs analysis or needs mapping, which focuses on problems in the community. You can lead to communities being labeled as deficient and dysfunctional. The identity is often absorbed by people who live there and can result in a perpetual cycle of disconnect and problems. Like I said, I truly think if you take communities out and put clubs in every one of those parts, I definitely think that's matches right up with what we're talking about. You take community out, and I think we do that. We have clubs and that are in that perpetual cycle of disconnect. So we need to focus on their strengths. What assets do they have that we can grow and make stronger so the whole organization is stronger? The more dysfunctional a community is labeled, the more funds are invested and controlled by external agencies. For instance, there would be district governors coming in, zone chairs coming in. Focusing on strengths and assets of a community start with what makes a community strong and recognize that everyone has skills, interests, and experience that can contribute. The second foundation is it identifies and mobilizes individual and community assets, skills, and passions. It says there are at least 6 broad types of assets which can be mapped and mobilized in communities. And I'll kind of maybe shorten some of these up because it's a longer slide. The skills and abilities of individuals within the community, particularly people who are passionate about the community and are good at making connections. We need to identify those individuals. Voluntary community organizations and networks and what they offer to the community. How can we look at other volunteer community organizations and their networks, and how can they offer to our community? Institutions that are already connected to the community, particularly small and local institutions. This is where you can create partnerships with other organizations, not-for-profits, government agencies, different things like that. The physical environment, both natural and built, the local economy in a broad way that includes the informal economy, and then the stories, culture, and heritage of the community. I think that's a very important one to keep in mind when we're trying to grow our clubs in our community. Third is the foundation, or the third, I'm sorry, it's community driven. Building communities or our clubs from the inside out. More and more asset-based community development is being termed asset-based community driven or community-led development to emphasize the leadership role of community rather than external agencies. The inside-out approach, focus on the strengths of the club to grow out and engaging our members that way. The fourth one is it's relationship driven. The relationship and social network that exists with communities are assets in their own right. But in addition to this, building relationships between assets within the community is an important part of the ABCD and asset mapping. It's all about the relationships. I think we all know that, and we understand that. And there's a couple of slides together. We can achieve more. And who is the most awesome person today? It's pointing at you. So, and then we still have a few minutes here. So I wanted to kind of talk. Some of you might be familiar with these. I know we've talked about them in the past or at different. Sorry about that. Let me go back one. There we go. So, I think one of the parts to engaging our members is asking them what they think. Let me get here. So some of you may be familiar, hopefully it comes up here. Here we go. So what are some actual steps we can take? We've discussed a little bit about the members, where they get their satisfaction, how we grow from the inside out, how we focus on the strengths of the individuals and the clubs to keep them engaged, to grow them. But some of the actual steps that we can take is, you may be familiar, Lions Club International has a lot of different information. One is, how are our ratings? As soon as I can find the slide. This is what it looks like, and if you'd like the link, I'm happy to send it to you. And what it does is it kind of walks you through how to work within your club to understand what your members think of your club. And a lot of times when you do a survey, you're actually evaluating what is their engagement in the club. If the ratings are really bad, it may be that they're just not engaged. So it'll help identify that. But you can see as you go through here, it asks several different questions. So you can start at volunteer activity importance. And what the concept here is, you would actually submit this to your club and have each member fill it out. Then you would take the information and put it together to see what your members think of what you're doing. But all kinds of different questions, having regular meetings with other members to allow us to socialize, and you rate it 1 through 5. This part here is more learning about your members. So this, oh, I couldn't tell if I dropped again.
No, you didn't. That was me.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know if you're on the internet or not, but we can't see what you're seeing. All we're seeing it is your slide.
Oh, you're seeing the slide?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. But we'll put, for everybody, we'll put these on the district website after the presentation also. So if you want to go click on Jason's link, you can do that, and the address will be there and you can get that information.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that. I thought you guys could see that.
I suggest on your taskbar at the bottom, you can hit the next to your volume, left of the volume. You hit that screen, it'll pop up the whole you've got it on the work slide right now, work view.
So what I want to hit just to the left of the speaker, you said?
Yeah, well, keep going to your right. See where you're shaded right now? Keep going to your right, keep going to your right. And then there's the thing that looks like a screen on a stand. If you click that, I believe that might bring it up to the...
Yeah.
Well,
Down at the bottom, Jason.
Keep going with your...
Keep going this way?
It's beside your volume or your enlargement.
On the taskbar at the bottom, Jason.
Okay.
But 2 or 3
Where it's,
over shaded.
yeah,
now.
where it says notes, go over 4.
Oh, down here. Okay. on
Yeah.
here.
There you go.
Are you able
That
to,
should, I'll be darned.
can you see the screen now?
Well, it's still in
It might take a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just to show the slideshow.
Yes.
That's all
Okay.
that thing is.
Right.
Okay. Well, sorry about that. I thought that would work. So we'll keep moving. Well, you can't see it, but I promise I had it up there. Sorry about that. But that is, hold on, let me go back. So can you see the presentation now still?
Yes.
Okay, but we're way off.
Now you're back to the beginning.
And no one wants to start that over, so let me go.
I think you were on.
Are you
Yep.
able to see that?
Yep.
Okay, so even though we can't see it, like I said, you can go online. It's actually document ME-15BEN. And like Jackie said, we'll make sure we get it on there. But it's how are your ratings? It actually does a survey. You send out to your members. They can evaluate, and then you can act on that. Personally, what I recommend, what I've done in the past is I've taken that survey, I've taken the questions that we thought were important to the club, and then we pulled those questions out. Instead of using, I mean, do whatever's right for your club, But if I remember that how are your ratings document is 5-6 pages, like there's like 20 to 50 questions. We pulled out 10 that we thought were important, so that way we could get a better understanding and keep it that way.
2-minute warning, Jason.
Okay, we'll wrap up. The club quality initiative is also another one that I would encourage you to look at. We were going to look at it, but unfortunately we can't. But we can get you that link if you're interested. So bringing it all together, we talked about the icebreakers, get members talking about things that they are passionate about. You might be surprised by what you find out about each other. Make it fun, change up the questions, have friends and spouses answer questions for each other. Focus on what types of relationships your club has with its members. Strive to have a mutualistic relationship with all members. Everyone, including the club, should benefit from the experience. Keep in mind that every member is different. Try to understand what volunteer experience satisfies them and create opportunities that can satisfy all the types. Asset-based community development. Focus on the strengths of the club and the community. Mobilize the assets you have. Don't dwell on the negative. Strengthen the club from the inside out. Take steps to engage the members. Ask them what they think through the survey and ask them how the club can do better. Be proactive and take surveys why they think they could still make a change. Before they decide to leave the club, ask them for their input so you can make the changes. And then create a plan or a committee to decipher what the surveys are telling you. So you can come up with an action plan, and then you have to act. The only thing about a survey is if you take a survey and don't act, you can actually disengage more people, because now they gave you their opinion and you're not reacting. So if you do a survey, you have to react to it in some way so they feel like their opinion matters. And then the last slide, please, if you have any questions or if we can help in any way, please contact us. That's my information. If you have any questions, I'm happy to do it. Happy to speak with you. Also, real quick, we did create an Instagram. It is Ohio 5 Lions Governor. It's just a new way to try to interact with people in the community, interact with Lions members. It's just going to be one that, as I do visitations, I meet people, we'll put some stuff on there to try to keep everybody engaged. The idea is hopefully that Instagram, if we can get it up and going strong, that we'll actually turn it over to the next governor and the next governor. So to keep everybody informed what the governor's doing and how we're doing it. And just another way to try to approach people, or reach people, I should say. I apologize for the internet. I usually have a really good internet. I don't know if we have time for questions. Do you want me to have them email if we do?
Yeah, there was one that came in through the chat, and I was able to answer that for Tim. Does anybody else have any questions? If you do,
Jason?
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, how do you encourage people, when you send out a survey to your membership, how do you encourage members to return the survey? And then, of course, you'll act on it, but, we all have just a touch of apathy in our, let other things get in our way. How do you encourage people to return those surveys?
That's a great question. It's one they struggle with, and corporations, poll researchers struggle with it. Other than trying to appeal to their desire to try to improve the organization, improve the club, you can try different things. I mean, you can try rewards. So many that come back. The thing with surveys, though, sometimes by not getting them back will answer your question of, how is engagement? Well, if I get a 20% response in my survey, our engagement is probably pretty poor, because who usually fills out a survey? You only ever speak to the manager or complain if you're angry or if something's amazing. If things are kind of in that middle area where I'm kind of content, I'm okay, you usually don't ask for the manager, and you usually don't fill out the survey. But it does tell you what your engagement of the club is. If you get a really poor response, that it doesn't give you the information you want, but it does provide information that's probably you're having poor engagement with your members, and you need to look at it that way, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So we will have this available on the district website. For anyone who needs it later, you can go view the slideshow and feel free to contact Jason anytime. Thanks everybody for joining us. Those of you that were on the phone, I only got one of your names. So the other two of you who are on the phone, please send me your name so we can get you credit for this class. Thanks everybody. And I hope you join a couple of the other sessions today. See you later.
Thank you, guys.